Social support and the athletic trainer. This lecture is going to be focused on social support and how athletic trainers can provide and help set up structures for providing social support for injured athletes. Athletic trainers are in a unique position to be able to get to know our athletes extremely well before an injury even occurs. Often, we not only get to know an athlete throughout a single season, but also from one season to the next and throughout the course of their athletic career. We also often build relationships with them that give us an insight beyond their sport about things like their personal and academic lives as well. As a result, when an athlete sustains an injury, they often feel comfortable coming to an athletic trainer because they already have an established relationship and they can rely on the athletic trainer to support them throughout a difficult time and situation such as an injury. Social support includes feelings or sensations of being supported by others, the act of supporting others, and social integration. There is a positive relationship between the amount of and satisfaction with social support that one receives and one's well-being. This relationship is also true for athletes receiving social support, and athletic trainers are in a perfect position to provide such support to an athlete. An athlete's social support network. Social support can come from a variety of people who surround the athlete and can serve as providers. Social support sources can include teammates, coaches, family, friends, significant others, and members of the sports medicine team. As we have previously discussed, athletic trainers are in a unique position to provide the support because of the amount of time we spend with the athletes throughout the injury rehabilitation process. Types of social support. There are 8 primary categories of social support, and you can see these listed on the slide. Listening support involves the perception by the athlete the other person is listening without giving advice or being judgmental. Emotional support involves the perception by the athlete that another person is providing comfort and caring, and indicating that they are on the athlete's side. Emotional challenge involves the perception by the athlete that the other person is challenging them to evaluate their attitudes, values, and feelings. Reality confirmation involves the perception by the athlete that another person who is similar to the athlete and who sees things that the same way the athlete does is helping them to confirm that the athlete's perception on the world. Task appreciation involves the perception by the athlete that another person is acknowledging the athlete's efforts and is expressing appreciation for the work that they are doing. Task challenge involves the perception by the athlete that another person is challenging the athlete's way of thinking about a task or an activity to stretch, motivate, and lead the athlete to greater creativity, excitement, and involvement. Tangible assistance involves the perception by the athlete that another person is providing them with financial assistance, products, and/or gifts. And finally, personal assistance involves the perception by the athlete that another person is providing services or help, such as running an errand or driving the athlete somewhere. Research has shown that athletes find the social support provided by athletic trainers to be more satisfying, more available, and to contribute more to their overall well-being than that of their coaches. Since athletic trainers have a better understanding of the injury recovery process, it is important for them to play a mediating role between athletes and coaches, including educating coaches about the psychosocial effects of the injury process. Integrating social support when working with injured athletes. Teaching athletes various appropriate coping strategies is important for both preventative and management of injuries. Forming a strong social support network is one of the coping strategies that should be incorporated before the patient even needs that support. Athletic trainers should become familiar with the types of support that may be needed in various situations and take steps to either provide that support themselves or to assist with identifying individuals who can provide the necessary support. Athletic trainers are responsible for providing education to athletes about injuries and the rehabilitation process when an injury occurs. This information may also be necessary for members of an athlete's social support system, so they can help provide the necessary support. Overall, it is important for athletic trainers to create a positive, non-threatening environment where athletes feel comfortable seeking various forms of support. The matching hypothesis theory. For social support to be effective, the support needs of the recipient must coincide with the support the provider is willing and able to give. Without this match, sometimes referred to as the matching hypothesis, the satisfaction with and the effects of the social support will likely be impaired. It is important to remember that athletes' social support needs are dynamic and will likely change throughout the rehabilitation and return to play process. As athletic trainers, we need to identify and to match the social support needs of the athlete with whom we interact. Social support is multidimensional and may change based upon the athlete's personal and situational characteristics. This may be based upon matching hypothesis. It's important for athletic trainers to identify and match the social support needs of the athlete with whom they interact. Because social support needs are dynamic, the demands of a prolonged rehabilitation or recovery may cause the athlete to have a variety of social support needs. Athlete satisfaction with the available social support, including the type of social support and the amount and timing of that support, is of significant importance. Athletic trainers should keep in mind that the inconsistent provision of social support may negatively affect athletes' well-being. Different types of social support in different amounts may be optimal throughout the injury and rehabilitation process. Athletic trainers should keep the type, amount, and timing of social support in mind when working with an athlete. The general measure of social support that can be used in the athletic training setting is the Social Support Behavioral Survey, clinical form, or more commonly known as the Social Support Survey. This survey contains 8 sub-skills and provides the athlete with a definition of each type of social support. For each type of social support, it asks participants to identify individuals who provide that type of support and to rate their satisfaction with the quality of support. It also asks to identify how difficult it would be to obtain more of this type of support and the importance for the individual on this type of social support. The Social Support Survey, also sometimes called the SSS, is a more general measure and should be used to help identify athletes' social support needs. In contrast, the Social Support Inventory for injured athletes is a 16-item self-report inventory that assesses perceived social support in 4 major areas, which includes emotional esteem, tangible, and information. Athletic trainers can also use this survey in a similar fashion to the one previously described in the SSS. The advantage of using the Social Support Inventory for injured athletes over the SSS is that the Social Support Inventory for injured athletes is specifically designed to capture the social support needs of athletes who are injured. Social support intervention should be targeted at 2 primary areas: increasing the athlete's perception of social support and increasing the availability of social support. Athletic trainers should take into account the athletic training environment and how this environment contributes or takes away from the athlete's perceptions of and actual access to social support. Additionally, social support strategies should consider characteristics of the athletes, such as their coping skills, beliefs, and attitudes about seeking help. It should also account for the social support needs of the individual providing the support, things like the scope of the support that they can provide, the duration of the support they can provide, as well as the dosage. Athletic trainers should utilize general counseling skills. They should educate the athlete on the importance of receiving social support, and they should identify social support needs and resources and facilitate rehabilitation partners and support groups. Social support is considered a general counseling skill. The rapport built between the athlete and the athletic trainer serves as the basis for trusting relationships. The use of active listening and demonstrations of empathy and a non-judgmental demeanor by the athletic trainer are important ways to provide social support to the athlete. Because athletic trainers are viewed as having expertise related to athletic injury, the athlete may particularly rely on them for informational support. It is important for athletic trainers not to assume that the athlete understands their injury or the rehabilitation process, but to ensure that we are providing the information to them and providing the necessary education. Rehabilitation partners can be useful in the athletic training setting because the relationship and rapport can be built between two people and can enhance the perceived ability of social support to the injured athlete. Partners may include athletes who are similar in nature, such as being at similar stages in the rehabilitation process or experiencing similar injuries. Or it can be more of a mentor mentee relationship, such as an athlete who is at a later stage of rehabilitation or who has successfully returned to participation already. Support groups may also be good resources for providing social support for athletes during rehabilitation. Small groups of less than 10 athletes may be helpful for providing each other with social support. However, there are several factors that may influence the effectiveness of this group, such as the composition of the group's absence from the group and adherence to their rehabilitation plans. As a result, it is generally recommended that a rehabilitation support group should be co-facilitated by an athletic trainer or by an individual with knowledge of sports psychology.